They call it the greatest opportunity of a lifetime. The marketing pitch alone is enough to make a desperate person in need of financial breakthrough throw all his money into it. The promises they make are out of this world, but somehow they're able to beat regulations and still function. I would simply call them wolves in sheep's clothing. There are no doubts that some legitimate multi-level marketing companies exist, but the question of legitimacy is country and continent bias. Most MLMs operate differently wherever they find themselves, and this is based on how strict or loose the regulations are. With that notwithstanding, there are also a lot of pyramid schemes behind most MLM businesses we see in Africa. Many people have lost millions of dollars to these schemes, but when we look around, we see them operating right under the nose of authority, and they get away with many of these scams. In the end, those who become pathetic victims are the good people of Africa who just want to make some money and escape poverty. My name is Bernard, and you are watching African Dream Motivation. Without wasting much time, let's begin. Behind most of these multi-level marketing companies is an illegal pyramid scheme deceiving millions of people, scamming them of their wealth without shame. This is how investment can be twisted to the extent that people no longer care about how their schemes are destroying lives and compromising relationships. The history of multi-level marketing goes back to the early 1920s. It was a marketing strategy used by Nutrilite, a company established to sell vitamin products. It gained popularity and brought in a lot of profit. Gradually, the marketing strategy itself became a business model, inviting illegal pyramid schemes to copy and rebrand. For an in-depth history of multi-level marketing and how a great marketing strategy became synonymous with a Ponzi scheme, check out our video of how multi-level marketing turned dark. From the early 1900s through to the end of the 20th century, the African continent was struggling for independence and freedom from autocratic rule. No foreign company would risk an expansion in most African countries until democracy and political stability gradually began happening for Africa. A lot of developmental projects were needed, and the barriers to entry into the African business world were made flexible to attract investors to help build the African economy. Many African countries like Ghana established a tax-free system for foreign businesses. This was to make the African market more attractive. Unemployment and poverty were some battles governments had to strive to find a solution to. Africans were in that search of new opportunities to make money, but as the saying goes, curiosity kills the cat. The basket was full for many pyramid schemes in Asia, Europe, and America. They needed a new audience to exploit. By the year 2000, a lot of transformation had been made in e-commerce and logistics, which totally changed how business was done. From the early 1900s through to the late 1990s, logistical and postal companies like DHL, APS, FedEx, and many more were established, making it even easier for companies to sell their products to customers worldwide. Speaking of worldwide, the greatest invention in e-commerce that totally changed everything about business is the internet, which was officially unveiled in the 1960s. When the British scientist Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web in 1989, the internet took a whole new turn with greater potential than anyone could have imagined. Companies were now able to reach millions of customers within the shortest possible time. Customers were also able to place orders from their preferred companies, and with the help of the logistic companies, goods are transported by road, air, or sea to customers wherever they find themselves. The world became a global village, and businesses began expanding and growing outside their territories. On the other hand, Ponzi and pyramid schemes were made illegal in many jurisdictions, but the African market was fresh and new to these schemes, therefore the continent became a target. After testing the waters, Africa became a hub of these outrageous schemes. Africa was the perfect destination for these pyramid and Ponzi schemes, simply because the economy was now struggling to take its form. Unemployment and poverty were on the rise, and many citizens were desperate to make money by any means possible. To further prove this, a country like India, which had the highest unemployment population in the world, was the breeding space for most of these pyramid schemes, hiding behind the veil of MLMs. This indicates that when there is poverty, the message of financial freedom is accepted without much scrutiny. So with the continent of Africa, which had the highest unemployment rate in the world, pyramid schemes had a greater chance of success. The most important sales pitch used by these illegal pyramid schemes is the ridiculous promise of financial freedom. It obviously depicts a get-rich-quick scheme, which is illegal in most countries, but it still gets the job done. There is also a high level of backroom deals, where these companies secretly collude and connive with a few participants and compensate them to show off wealth, which brings some kind of social proof that the financial freedom they preach is real. Some of these schemes use celebrity branding as a means of getting social proof that will make them look legitimate. Many others associate themselves with top government officials just to look credible. These strategies has helped many of these illegal MLM companies to be in business for a very long time. Therefore, longevity does not guarantee legitimacy. Many people in Africa lost millions of dollars to these schemes in recent times. These losses are as a result of the slow reaction of African governments to cause these schemes to order, and also the act of citizens ignoring warnings from central banks and other authorities. There have been instances that the government through its regulatory bodies warned citizens to stay away from suspicious MLM companies who run illegal pyramid schemes, but many people turn a deaf ear to these warnings, and in the end, the loss is huge. To better understand how these suspicious multi-level marketing companies exploit the African market, let's look at an organization called QNET. QNET was founded in 1998 in Hong Kong using a multi-level marketing strategy to operate. Over the years, it has changed its name on multiple occasions, which raises a red flag. Right from its establishment, it faced litigation from many countries and caused arrest and closure of their operations in many of their earlier startups. From 2003 to 2006, countries like Australia, Philippines, Cambodia, Bhutan, Nepal, and India declared the company a pyramid scheme, and most of them placed a ban on the company. The company was later found active in Africa with the same business model that raised concerns in the other Asian countries. In 2010, QNET established their presence in Turkey with about 150 distributors. In less than 2 years, the law caught up with them, resulting in arrest and closure of the activities. It was discovered that unemployed youth were targeted, causing many of them to go into debt and join the scheme. When the company collapsed in Turkey, investigations revealed that 30,000 people lost their money in a $50 million fraud. In Africa, the government of Rwanda attempted to protect its citizens against QNET, which was operating as QNET. They banned the suspicious MLM company in 2009. Other African countries like Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, Senegal, and the Gambia did say. In Ghana, QNET has been operational for a while, making it quite difficult for the scheme to totally collapse. They used a diverse marketing strategy to position themselves in the Ghanaian market. Their main focus had been on recruitment, and recruits will go any mile to build their downlines, because the more people one brings in, the more money he or she makes. In 2019, 52 QNET affiliates who entered the country illegally were arrested and deported. Investigations revealed that some of these people were promised a job and brought into the country only to be introduced to the scheme. These sketchy recruitment practices had been going on for a long time. On 19 July 2021, the Attorney General of Ghana filed a petition at the Accra High Court seeking an order to wind up the network marketing company, QNET. After all these red flags and arrests, the scheme is still ongoing. New recruits are coming in, day out. At this point, it is up to you and me to educate ourselves and prevent falling victim to some of these schemes. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of pyramid schemes operating in the multi-level marketing space in Africa alone. They present to you a dream of financial freedom, and in exchange, take away all your hard-earned money and leave you broke. Africa has a lot of problems to deal with, but I believe that the security of the finances of Africans are also important, just as the advanced countries like the United States and China have put strict regulations to monitor these multi-level marketing companies. Africa needs to do the same. The government has a role to play in preventing fraudulent schemes from operating, but in some cases, before regulations could even catch up with these schemes, many people may have even committed their resources already. Don't be a victim to these schemes. There are so many legitimate investment opportunities in Africa. Do your research with due diligence before you take action. When it comes to pyramid scheme in the multi-level marketing space, there are always some visible red flags. Before we end this video, let's look at some few red flags to look out for. 1. Their main focus is on recruitment, not sales. 2. They charge huge entry fees. 3. There are no or poor refund policies or exit plans for recruits. 4. They have complex compensation plans which are mostly difficult to understand. 5. They make outrageous get-rich-quick promises, especially using financial freedom as a yardstick. With these red flags, at least you have an idea of what to expect whenever you are approached by some of these schemes. Many people have lost their life savings. Some have committed suicides. Others have never been able to be themselves again. Authorities have reacted by arresting, deporting, and declaring the closure of most of these illegal pyramid schemes operating as multi-level marketing companies. But they always find a way to operate behind the scene. Some quickly change their names and return to business again. No regulation can completely stop these scams, but at least if you know how they operate, you will be able to differentiate between the legitimate ones and the pyramid schemes. Work hard, persevere, and gradually you will make it in life. Don't fall for these get-rich-quick schemes. Most of them are just in for your money. Be smart and invest wisely. Thanks for watching this video to the end. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Also, share this video with anyone you believe will love it as you did. Thanks again. See you in our next video. Until then, have a nice day.